What's going on, everybody? James from The Conservative here, and today I want to talk about the census data that just got released recently. They just released part of their data for the year. I wanted to talk about that and cover a couple of other articles real quick as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, starting off with this article here coming from One American News. Just a quick update that the Arizona audit is officially underway. The article reads, ballot counters are working hard in Arizona to snuff out voting irregularities in last year's presidential election and fight off Democrat attempts to derail them. On Sunday, forensic experts confirmed they are examining thousands of ballots cast in November as part of the audit in the Grand Canyon state. They are using ultraviolet lights to search for ballot watermarks and weed out phony ballots. Additionally, auditors have been split into several groups, with some examining mail-in ballots and others inspecting ballot folders, envelopes, along with other related items. Democrat Party officials have tried to challenge the audit in court, and they are deploying their operatives in the mainstream media in an attempt to downplay the severity of election fraud, as well as discredit Republican challenges to election security. Arizona Republicans were able to continue the audit after thwarting Democrat attempts to derail the audit this weekend. On Friday, Democrats filed a temporary restraining order to stop auditors from counting the ballots. They later retreated from their position after a judge ordered them to pay a $1 million bond if they lost their legal challenge. The chair of the Arizona GOP, Dr. Kelly Ward, commented on the victory and gave insight into what's to come. She said the state Supreme Court is set to make a decision to prevent Democrat attempts to stop the audit. The Arizona justices believe an audit is a constitutional right that protects election integrity and ensures the separation of powers. This is a good thing. The audit needs to happen. I think that there is a lot of questions around last year's election. No matter which way this audit goes, if there was fraud, if there wasn't fraud, I think it's going to go a long way in restoring the faith of American voters. In my opinion, and I think in a lot of other people's opinions, the only reason why Democrats would fight so hard to stop this is if there's something to find. That just is what seems logical at this point, but you never know. I guess we'll find out once everything's all said and done. But that's all we have on the audit. I will, of course, link this article down below for you guys to take a look at yourself if you would like to. Moving on to the article about the census data that just came out. This is also from One American News. U.S. Census Bureau releases first batch of data. The battle over how districts are drawn up has commenced after the U.S. Census Bureau released their first batch of data detailing U.S. demographics. State legislators and independent commissions are now chomping at the bit to hash out how to redraw congressional districts. Data regarding the U.S. population shows America grew by nearly 7.5%, or by more than 22 million people in the past 10 years. This marks the second slowest decade of growth in the U.S. population in our nation's history, coming in behind the 1930s. The data shows Americans migrated to several Republican-run states in the South and Mountain West regions. Additionally, Texas gained the most numerically while picking up 2 more seats in the House of Representatives. However, Utah touted the fastest growth rate. It's interesting to me that most Republican states are the ones that people are, quote, from this article, fleeing to or running to. We have a Democrat president right now who is supposedly the most popular president in history, but it seems that people are leaving all of these Democrat states that are following the things that our president wants. So it's interesting to me when we see articles like this that show the mainstream media might not always have it so right. I mean, you look at other things, the woke mob and woke media have, you're seeing those numbers plummet. I mean, sports, National Basketball Association, the NFL, the MLB, all of them are suffering horrific ratings because of the woke agenda and the woke mob. So this is just another example of that, in my opinion. I mean, you're going to see later in this article, we'll continue here in parts about California, which is my home state, and you'll see what they say about that. Utah was the fastest growing state with an 18.4% increase in population, growing to 3.3 million, stated Dr. Ron Jarman. On the other hand, 3 states lost population, with West Virginia having the largest rate of decrease at 3.2%. Several other states experienced a slowdown in their growth rates, including Nevada's drop from 66% to 15%. Additionally, California's growth rate was the slowest in the state's history. That's crazy. The slowest in the state's history. That says a lot. At least in my opinion, it says a lot. 6 states will gain seats in the House of Representatives. Texas will gain 2 seats, and Colorado, Florida, Montana, North Carolina, and Oregon will each gain 1 seat. 7 states will each lose 1 seat in the House: California, Illinois, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. Political analysts are gearing up to see how the census numbers will affect future elections following the 1929 Reapportionment Act. Bodies tasked with drawing up districts will have to shuffle some around to make 435 seats. Along with Texas, 6 other primarily red states gained a seat in the House. This includes Florida, Montana, and North Carolina. These will be taken from several blue states who lost a seat, including California and New York. California's loss marks the first time the Golden State lost a seat since it came to the Union in 1850. The first time it's lost a seat since 1850. Additionally, New York missed out on adding a congressional seat by less than 100 people. What we have is that if New York had 89 more people, they would have received 1 more seat instead of the last state that received their last seat, explained Kristen Koslap, senior technical expert for the U.S. Census Bureau. There are 435 seats, so the last seat went to Minnesota, and New York was next in line. However, some experts said the census data is not all positive for Republicans. I don't see how. Several said migration patterns show historical population gains in large Sunbelt states are spilling over into key swing states like Arizona and Georgia. In the meantime, political strategists are looking ahead to the 2022 midterm elections as congressional hopefuls will be competing on a new congressional map. Strategists will keep an eye out for shifts in the electoral college as they plan for the 2024 presidential election. So, again, like I said before, I just think that, little things like that, like this, when they come out, they just speak volumes to what's going on with the American people and how, the population really feels about what's going on in this country. One last little tidbit that I just wanted to kind of throw in here real quick. I'm not going to go through the whole article, but I will link it down below for you guys. This is just an article about a cop who is commonly referred to as Angel Cop. He had written a letter that has now gotten viral to LeBron James after LeBron James came out and basically threatened that cop that was involved in the knife fight, and threatened on Twitter to his some 50 million followers that cop was next, and this cop is getting a lot of praise for saying something and for speaking up. So I'll just read a short little part of it here. Los Angeles police officer Dion Joseph, who wrote a viral letter to LeBron James asking to meet after the NBA star targeted a police officer on social media, spoke out Tuesday explaining the reason he decided to reach out to James and request a sit-down talk. Joseph, who is known by some on Skid Row as Angel Cop, told Fox News in an interview that everybody is hurting and separated right now, and the last thing that we need is to widen the chasm between people. So in a letter that went viral, Joseph requested a sit-down meeting with LeBron James to talk with him about the realities of police work. I don't want to call him irrational, James told Fox. If I wasn't a police officer and all I saw 24/7 on social media and on the radio was that the police are out to get black people, police hate people of color, and they're repeating that over and over again, I'd probably feel the same way. So I was LeBron James before I became a police officer. Joseph said that he doesn't want people to think of him as calling out James. I don't think that he's necessarily calling him out. I think he's just trying to do the right thing and trying to get one of the largest voices in our country right now, and possibly even in the world right now, to ease up a little bit and just, think before you go out threatening people. And your words can have serious ramifications when you have that kind of a platform and that kind of voice. And I personally think what LeBron James did was wrong. I don't think that he should have done something like that given who he is and the platform that he has. But that's just my humble opinion. I think that cop is owed an apology, at the least. But it's good to see that there are people out there that are trying to do the right thing and trying to break through to LeBron and hopefully help him see you know, what it's like for us lowlies down here that don't live in $100 million mansions in Bel Air and surrounded by personal security all the time. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. I will link everything that, all the articles that I talked about today down below for you guys to take a look at. Please use those articles to do your own research. Do not trust me. Do not trust the mainstream media. Do your own research. Research is knowledge, and knowledge is power. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and I hope I'll see you next time.